Amber Heard has long been a name that stirs powerful reactions: admiration, skepticism, empathy, outrage. But now, in a remarkable twist that few could have predicted after the drama of the last few years, she appears poised for an extraordinary reinvention. Following the bruising defamation trial with Johnny Depp that captivated the world and left her career seemingly in ruins, Heard has retreated from the chaos of Hollywood life, only to reemerge transformed, both literally and figuratively. The once controversial actress who was vilified and praised in equal measure is now being reconsidered in the public eye, not just as a former Hollywood flameout, but possibly as a phoenix rising from the ashes of scandal. The question on everyone's mind: is this the beginning of Amber Heard's Hollywood comeback? In the aftermath of the 2022 trial, where the world watched every tear, every sigh, every accusation play out like a Hollywood drama, Heard seemed to disappear almost overnight. The media, fans, and even fellow celebrities were quick to either celebrate or condemn her, but one thing was certain: Amber Heard needed to disappear, and she did. Relocating to Spain with her young daughter, Una Page, she chose a life far from the flashbulbs and headlines, embracing anonymity in the sun-drenched coastal city of Palma de Mallorca. The move, according to those close to her, wasn't just an escape, it was survival. Spain offered her privacy, space, and a sense of peace she hadn't known in years. For many, it seemed like she had abandoned Hollywood for good. But time, it seems, has a curious way of healing wounds and shifting narratives. While the industry that once welcomed her with open arms now eyed her with caution, Heard was quietly working on herself behind the scenes. Gone were the high-profile parties, red carpet appearances, and PR spin. She was instead spotted walking through farmers' markets, reading books in quaint cafes, and spending uninterrupted time with her daughter. Paparazzi photos from this period began surfacing sporadically, revealing a softer, more natural version of the actress. Her demeanor was relaxed, her fashion understated, and her expressions free from the stress that once marked her public appearances. This wasn't the Amber Heard of Aquaman premieres and tabloid headlines. This was someone different, someone who appeared genuinely at peace. Insiders began to whisper about her transformation. Not just physical, though that too was evident in her newfound grace and pared-down aesthetic, but emotional and mental. Sources close to the actress say she spent her time away undergoing therapy, journaling, and reevaluating her priorities. She reportedly turned down several media offers for tell-all interviews, preferring to let time pass without defending herself in public. This restraint, in contrast to the media circus of the Depp trial, began to shift public perception. The woman once caricatured by some as manipulative and calculating was now showing a new side: quiet, introspective, and human. Then came the first true indication that Amber might be ready to step back into the spotlight. In late 2024, she was cast in a small but compelling independent film titled In the Fire, directed by Connor Allen. Far from the big-budget spectacle of the DC universe, this psychological thriller set in 1890s Colombia was a stark change of pace, and perhaps exactly what she needed. Critics who screened the film early were surprisingly generous in their praise. Heard's performance was described as measured, haunting, and deeply emotive, with some even calling it her best work to date. It was a daring move, returning not with a blockbuster but with a piece of art that would force audiences to reconsider her range and humanity. And for many, it worked. Public reaction was mixed at first, predictably so. Some social media users were quick to rehash old grievances, dragging up court footage and past allegations. But others were more willing to give her a second look, especially as she avoided sensationalism and allowed her work to speak for itself. The premiere of In the Fire at a small European festival became a subtle but powerful statement. Amber Heard was not done with acting, but she was doing it on her own terms. She did not appear with an entourage or issue grand proclamations. She posed quietly for a few photographs, spoke briefly to journalists, and left. But it was enough. The whispers of a comeback had begun. Simultaneously, a new wave of content began surfacing online that focused less on her controversies and more on her artistic potential. Fan accounts began to post clips of her earlier roles, from her breakout in All the Boys Love Mandy Lane to her magnetic presence in The Rum Diary. Some film critics re-evaluated her performances, noting how often her looks had been emphasized over her acting talent. A new narrative was forming, one where Amber Heard was not just a headline, but an artist trying to reclaim her voice. Whether orchestrated or organic, the shift in tone was impossible to ignore. What also fueled the buzz was her undeniable physical transformation. Gone was the heavily styled Hollywood glam. In its place was a natural, almost bohemian elegance. Her hair was often pulled back in loose waves, makeup minimal, and her fashion choices effortless but chic. She appeared healthier, calmer, and more grounded, something even her critics begrudgingly acknowledged. In an age where celebrity authenticity is scrutinized more than ever, Amber's new look and attitude appeared refreshingly real. It was no longer about proving herself, but about simply being herself. And then came the speculation. Was this all leading to something bigger? Rumors began to swirl that major studios were quietly reaching out to her representatives again. One unconfirmed report claimed that a popular streaming platform was in talks with her for a limited series, a dramatic role that would allow her to flex her range without the burden of box office expectations. Other whispers linked her to international directors who admired her resilience and saw her as an underutilized talent. Even her former detractors in Hollywood began to take note, watching to see if audiences would truly embrace her again. Fueling the flames was a rare interview she gave to a European magazine, where she spoke candidly but carefully about motherhood, art, and healing. "I've lived many lives in a short time," she said, "and I'm finally in a place where I don't feel the need to defend every part of who I am." The quote went viral, as fans and journalists parsed it for meaning. It wasn't an apology nor a justification. It was a declaration of self-acceptance. For a woman who had been defined for years by courtroom drama and tabloid coverage, it was a powerful reclaiming of narrative. Still, questions remain. Can Amber Heard truly stage a comeback in an industry that is notoriously unforgiving, especially to women who have been publicly shamed? Will audiences be willing to separate her personal history from her professional potential? And more importantly, does she even want the kind of fame she once had? Observers point out that the entertainment landscape has shifted. The rise of streaming platforms, independent film markets, and global cinema offers new paths for reinvention. No longer does an actor need to rely solely on Hollywood studios to build a career. If Heard is strategic, she could carve out a niche as an artist rather than a celebrity, choosing roles that challenge her and allow her to rebuild a new reputation, not as a tabloid figure, but as a serious performer. And there's something to be said for the public's shifting attention span. In a world where viral scandals emerge weekly, many seem willing to forget, or at least forgive, when a celebrity takes time away, shows humility, and returns with grace. Heard's time in Spain may have served as more than just an escape. It may have been the perfect reset. Her stunning transformation, both in how she looks and how she carries herself, has caught the eye of a culture always eager for a redemption arc. Whether people believe in her sincerity or not, there's no denying that Amber Heard has returned with a different energy, one that suggests a desire to be known for more than just courtroom battles. And now, as 2025 unfolds, all eyes are once again on her, not with the fury of the trial, but with the curiosity of a potential reinvention. She has become, paradoxically, both a symbol of controversy and a subject of quiet admiration for enduring a level of scrutiny most could never bear. As she carefully considers new roles and continues living her more grounded European life, she's not chasing a Hollywood comeback in the traditional sense. Instead, she's crafting something far more powerful, a return to the screen on her own terms with nothing left to prove. What happens next remains uncertain. Amber Heard may never fully escape the shadow of her past, but if her recent choices are any indication, she's not trying to. She's choosing to live with it, learn from it, and evolve. Her story is no longer one of scandal alone. It's also one of transformation. And in a world that loves to see someone fall, there's something quietly revolutionary about the way she's choosing to rise.